welcome to the Make Love Easy podcast, where we help men thrive in love, sex, dating, relationships, intimacy, and the health that is the foundation for that. I'm here with my friend Ryan. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
It's quite an honor. So, what's your story, man? How'd you get into being of service to humanity in the realm of health, and what's your angle?
That's a great question. And really, it started off with curiosity. I was one of those kids that was born into a single mother, and she partied, and we had my grandparents help raising me. So it was never any danger, but I was left to my own accord quite a bit. And I fell in love with nature. So I was watching Jacques Cousteau and National Geographic and David Attenborough and his smooth charm. And I was fascinated by nature and the patterns and how diverse, life is. And that led me down a path of being an athlete and trying to optimize my own health, and then going into school to help people. I wanted to be part of this medical system and found out I wasn't really helping people. So then after working in cancer research and surgery for over 20 years, I decided it was time to go back to school to understand more about nutrition and biochemistry and genetics and the patterns that we see in physics and spirituality and health, really kind of unifying this field. And it's led to me to be where I am now, where I still have finally attained the primary goal, which was to be of service through education and access for people's health.
What is health?
Yeah. It's a great question. I think it's a lot of things, but when you strip everything away, it really just distills down to diet. And I don't mean diet in a typical way, because I don't think most people know what that word means. But it relates to self-love. So I'd say that health is a loving diet. But first, I think we have to explain what those words really mean. Because so many people think about I'm carnivore and I'm vegetarian or I'm pescatarian, whatever. They have an identity with what they think diet is. And discipline is self-love. So I think we have to have love for our minds, our bodies, our vessels. And we're going to dive into a little etymology for this explanation. First, we have to understand this body. In Latin, humus is soil. Well, human is a derivative of humus. So this body is a humble vessel of this earth, of this 3D, that's a part of the ecosystem that our consciousness gets to experience for a while. And so we have to acknowledge that our body is designed to interact with nature. And then diet, Hebrew pictographs, going back to some of the earliest written language, and for those that are biblical or not, it's just a written language. But what it really means, and it translates and reads out directly to that I have a plan, and my way of life for everything that I absorb that makes me breathe easier, restrict all else. And then my purpose is found. That's the etymology of the word diet. So there's a psyops on connotation due to consumerism and control, where everyone thinks it's about food, but really this conversation that you so graciously invited me to is part of diet, because it serves both you and me. And the music we listen to, the relationships we are in, how we show up in them, especially with our loved ones, because it's not about how kind you are to strangers. They don't carry the weight of your interactions. The person that you interact with the most, my wife, my child, that's part of my diet. But my belief system is also part of your diet. It's what's serving you, how you show up. Do you love yourself? Do you believe in love, period, outside of yourself, for other things that are alive or part of this world? So that's what health is the self-love for your diet, your way of life, so that you can find your purpose and create whatever you're here to create.
I love that, because there's like a increased awareness and sensitivity to the fact that our being is porous to an outside within which we exist, namely nature, and that the interchange, the interplay, the engagement back and forth between us plugging into different aspects or spots in nature can either uplift and serve and support us or pull us down and degrade and put us on decline.
We're a bioelectric magnetic vessel that's our consciousness is driving, and we're constantly receiving inputs. And we're even responding to life, thought, reality, and that's what the other part of health and diet is everything is an input. The EMF, the sunshine, air, fresh breeze, that messed up plug-in that's got toxins in it you're breathing, the laundry that you're breathing,
the fridge,
the fridge humming, exactly, good food, bad food, and everything in between. Those are all inputs, and really, are we tuning out the bad inputs and getting enough of the good inputs in our body and our mind, and mitigating enough of the negative inputs? You can't ignore all of them. You need them as a catalyst of change and growth, and that's a pattern.
So eat some dirt from time to time.
Yeah, get your face rubbed in the dirt, learn a hard lesson. It's painful, and hopefully you grow from it.
Yeah, that too. I love that. You went from one angle to another very deftly. So if someone were looking to become healthier, I hear you on the minimizing negative inputs. So like sodium lauryl sulfide, or canola oil, or being like standing underneath 5G towers.
Yeah.
Maybe don't do things like that, right? But is there a list or a comprehensive account of what to, I imagine, avoid first, and then also what to potentially add in, or just whatever examples you want to give?
Yeah, that is the question, because everyone's at a different level of awareness. And true science, true spirituality, true parenting, true relationships, even with yourself, is meeting yourself and others at their pain with compassion. It's all the same. So
starting with loving what is.
Right. So for some people that might be, I need to switch my detergent and my cleaning supplies to non-toxic ones. Great. It's a great place to start. For some people, it might be more of the radical ownership of, hey, I'm not a victim or a perfectionist. That those are conditioned things and I can evolve. But in regards to nutrients that come from this earth, which is funny to talk about, right? Like you might not say this cell phone or this speaker or this TV or this Wi-Fi comes from this earth, but it absolutely does.
This is all nature.
Yeah,
all of it is part of nature.
I love that you can just look at a mountain over there and say, hey, make me a car out of that. Make me the internet out of that mountain. And that's what man did.
Make me a computer.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a Wi-Fi router.
But in regards to, nutrients, there's only 6 categories. And those are minerals, vitamins, antioxidants, protein, fiber, and fat. It's pretty, eat real food, right? So that's where we are, but don't...
So non-processed, canned.
Don't stress if you can't afford organic or don't have a farmer's market to buy everything. That's just not reality for everyone. So if you do, great. But you know what? Part of what I do, I've measured part of a company that's measured over 28 million people's nutritional status inside their cell with Nobel Prize winning physics. No one's doing well. Even if you're buying regenerative and organic, people don't understand that organic pesticides and chemicals can be just as bad as the inorganic ones. So you do the best you can, and you eat whole foods as much as you can. Not actual whole foods, but not Bezos and getting stuff from China. But
it's a great brand on that account, actually.
Yeah,
so you can get confused for actual whole foods.
But eat protein. I don't care if you get it from plants or animals.
Interesting.
Because your diet is what serves you. Some people have variation in their genetics that makes it easier for one or the other, but everybody needs plants. Like that's a non-negotiable. Everyone needs colors. That's a signal from God. It's a signal from nature saying, hey, pollinate. And what is pollination? It's spread the seed, just like men do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're eating the fruit. The color attracted you to that fruit, and it never gives you one thing. Nothing works in isolation. We're not lab. This is nature. This is life. So when you're getting the vitamins, the minerals, the antioxidants, the fiber from these fruits and vegetables, then in an animal, then you're moving the seed, helping the ecosystem stay alive.
Fascinating.
So these compounds are colors that actually are antioxidants that are super important for cell function, how everything gets in and out of the cell, how all the little receptors work, like a door and lock situation to get in and out of the cell. And sometimes they rust, which is what oxidizing is. It's just rust. And it's pretty easy to get the protein. There's only 20 amino acids. Eat a steak, eat some fish, eat tofu, eat hemp seed hearts. I don't care. Like, get it in. But then it's the healthy fats, like you mentioned, maybe not highly refined canola oil, but your butter, your olive oil, your sesame seed oil, all the standards are great. Fibers, eat real food. But it's the minerals, vitamins, and antioxidants that are really hard to get because they're not in our soil. They're not in modern farming, and no one's measuring them except for us. And that's kind of the mission, is to empower everyone to take health into your own hands, not outsource it to anyone else, and definitely not be sold something on a guess where you can actually measure.
Yeah. So speaking personally of being in the holistic health realm, of like Ayurveda and detoxification and ozone therapy, which I have felt the palpable, I think, impact of, and then being kind of framed and diagnosed by certain professionals as the first major health crisis of this decade, actually, for me, occurred with like a infection in my eye and then puffy eyelid. I felt kind of spun out on this merry-go-round of like not data-driven, not evidence-based, but rather intuitively suggested and potentially useful, but not having absolute confidence that the moves I was making were based in something that I could validate or verify. And even going to an ophthalmologist for the infection or the puffy eyelid, I asked, are you going to culture what's in the eye, in the eyelid, before you assign me these antibiotics? And they said, no, I could do that, and then you could wait another 3 days only for it to get worse, because we didn't give you the antibiotics because it's probably what they are anyway.
Yeah.
And like that kind of shortcutting on the part of modern, allopathic medicine.
Yep.
It's like, wait a second. This is even my health, putting it into the hands of an expert like that. It's not in their hands. It seems like it's in the hands of the special interest groups and lobbyists that paid them to put their foot in the door to ensure that they were pushing pills. And
100%. It's a broken system. There's no doubt about that. But a lot of health is fragmented and people are confused.
There's no unifying framework. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, okay, we all agree that we need to breathe. Cool. We need clean water. Got it.
Maybe sunlight.
Yeah, you need some sunlight.
Ground.
Yeah, ground. You need some community. You need some love, and you need some nourishment for that self-love for your body. But no one's really tackling that, and that's the hard part, is working with some world-leading biochemists and researchers that left Big Pharma, gave them the middle finger 40 years ago after they invented birth control and statins and drugs for organ transplant. All those things were derived from nature, but you can't patent that. So they said, F it, we want to give people the real deal. And they went up against Big Pharma, won the first lawsuit, lost the second lawsuit. But that's why they doubled down, because they're in the rare position to explain to VC to get capital to have their own labs on par with pharma. And, people don't understand when you're buying a product, even from an influencer or from a doctor, you don't know who's making it. You don't know. It's probably white labeled and coming from someone else and probably owned by pharma when it comes down to it. It's very different to be in a place that has clinical validation, has clinical studies on products, has made it through the rigors of what we call the physician's desk reference list, which is their big book, their Bible of medications. Having supplements be listed in there means that they're actually held to the same standards as like, hey, this is a standardized dose. When you have a $65 billion industry that's mostly fluff and smoke and mirrors and selling promises.
Talking about supplements.
Yeah, nutrition and supplements. Yeah, it's like you can say whatever you want on the label, but no one's testing it. No one's regulating it. You can make wild claims as long as you don't say cure in a disease. So until you have clinical studies on those things, you don't have a way to back it up, or unless you're running that product through a lab to test it to see if what they say is in there is actually in there. It's a whole other level of science that I had to learn and become accustomed to. And, you know, that's why I went back to school, because nobody could tell me what an antioxidant was. But how many times have you heard that in your life? Eat blueberries, they're full of antioxidants, and hydrogen water's got an antioxidant and all these things. But someone like to please explain it to me. What is it? How does it work? And no one could. So I just went and got my own education.
Was it your degree? Was it antioxidants or?
Well, part of it, yeah, for sure. Nutrition, and then minored in biochem and genetics, because antioxidants get quantum. And mostly people don't understand there's like, you look at like species of monkeys, like thousands of different species of monkeys and families and all these different things. Antioxidants are the same way. There are thousands and thousands of different types.
Cool.
They all do different things, different mechanisms of action, the cell, like a medication. So there's different categories like polyphenols and carotenoids and anthocyanins, and they all do different things. And just because it has the classification of, say, that big fun word anthocyanin, it's the purple, blue, red color in all fruits and vegetables. So blueberries, that's why they're blue. It's also why red cabbage is red, or black rice is black, or purple sweet potato is purple. But that same anthocyanin molecule, each of them are different and do different things to the cell. So it's endless. It's like the rainforest. Like, oh my gosh, there's so many species and things. So
the rainbow for sure.
Yeah. And I happen to be standing on the shoulders of giants of a company with 80 scientists and dozens of PhDs, that this has been their area of expertise at the international scale of study.
Is everything healable?
I would say yes.
I'll revise our comments from the Builders event by saying I have actually heard of shamans from the kahunas reattaching limbs.
Hey.
So even if someone gets it cut off.
I'll put it this way. The potential of the human mind and body is truly unlimited. You see it every day. We're all fascinated by Olympic athletes and sports heroes, or fascinated by the feats of monks and the teachings of prophets, to stoicism and everything in between, religious teachings. But look at Wim Hof. All of these people are human. Wim Hof can sit in freezing cold water for 2 hours, a feat that's never been done, or documented, rather. And can you and I do that? Yeah, we can. It's just like anything else. We're not just going to hop in there and do it. We have to work for it, right? We have to have that discipline if that's the goal. And most people are not that detached from society and the paradigm of consumerism and politics to be able to focus on their body and mind to that degree, because we're all trying to put a roof over our head, stay alive, eat, grow a family, run a business, and so on. So yes, we all have the potential, but most people are too distracted to focus on what truly matters.
Yeah, so it strikes me then that healing or optimal health starts in the mind as a vision of, or an imagining of, what we get to be, how we get to do things, and then manifests as new actions, new inputs, and stretching of capacity through activation of intelligence, and
ultimately a test of faith. what do you actually believe? And coming from the medical world and surgery and cancer research, you see it time and time again. People have not come to terms with what they actually believe in until a moment of crisis. And then it is too late. It's not too late, it's just more difficult because you're forced to rush through your beliefs. And heart and mind coherence, whenever they are truly aligned, and this is like chakras too, like you're aligning everything, but you can't make a wrong decision when it's heart-centered and your brain understands the logic of that, because that's your faith. You believe in love, and this really comes down to chicken or the egg. Is it consciousness before matter, or matter before consciousness?
I was just going to ask. That was what I was scribbling down. Like, if environmental toxins can have an impact on our tissues outside of our conscious or even subconscious perception of the existence of those things, like, because then it's a question of, is there an objective reality that we are entering into whose impact on us is calibrated through consciousness, or is it entirely composed by consciousness, and then removing veils of awareness enable us greater access to power with it?
And that's, what does apocalypse mean? The unveiling.
Yeah.
Right? So people also have to understand that the world's nefarious, and we're in the midst of spiritual warfare. So there are unforetold rabbit holes to go down, and technologies that have been in place, are in place, that hijack your thought, your beliefs, your ability to self-regulate.
Social media is a pristine quality example.
Weather modification, signals pumped through 5G and 6G.
Bring it all.
You know,
I'm hear it.
It's all there. But really, you know, the news is always there. Maybe just turn it off.
Yeah, I've had it off for
years.
You
know, because that's my diet. It doesn't serve me. You know, if you're still getting triggered over what side of the political arena you're on, then you've been duped. You know, it's two wings of the same bird. But the point is, both are true. You can never separate mind and body. And because this vessel belongs to this world, your mind is the bridge between. So we have to be able to recognize that your body cannot survive without the raw materials from nutrition, from that air, that sunlight, that water, and these 6 categories of nutrients of minerals, vitamins, antioxidants, protein, fiber, and fat. So we can think and meditate all day long, but because we still have to live in this world, then we have to give our body, this vessel, what it needs. Now, it's interesting when your body gets to a more aligned, more optimized, high-functioning state, it doesn't need as much. But that's the tricky part. When everything is designed in this world to take away your power, to have you spend money, to become a slave, it's consumerism for enslavement and profit. But if you can get people's energy, self-function, nutrition on back to a new level, an optimized level, there's no going back. It's, in a sense, a way to wake people up. I didn't understand how good I could feel. I didn't understand that my body could heal this much, that I would have this much brain power, that I would feel this much rested after every night of sleep. But it does so much more. That's also all your hormones, you know, your ability to manage that mental, emotional stress comes simultaneously from the foundation of nutrition, while having the foundation of your belief system. But most people are, you know, conditioned one way or another.
It strikes me that beliefs are cybernetic, in that what we believe becomes our reality within a certain realm of bounds. I think it was John Lilly who said, in the province of the mind, whatever one believes to be true becomes true until or unless you investigate and test it through experience and experiment, and then transcend it.
Yeah. And I like the balancing act of two simultaneous experiences that are forever intertwined, like the mind-body, is enlightenment and faith. You're never going to know everything. You're going to test a lot, but underneath that, you're going to have faith, and you can never just have complete faith without testing and knowledge. Mm-hmm. There's a tightrope balance, and it ebbs and flows just like everything does. But the same is true for difficulty and opportunity. There is no opportunity in this life that does not come with difficulties, and there is nothing in life that is difficult that doesn't give you the opportunity to grow. I also like to say perception projection.
Yeah.
Simultaneous. And it's a great practice that I got as a download one time, to be in partnership with another human. This is romantic or non-intimate nonetheless, but place your hands in the prayer mode. Right? Yeah. And then I'm going to put my hands over yours, and we're going to push all of our hands towards your heart and say, what's yours is yours. And we'll sit there and feel that. And then we'll go to my heart and say, what's mine is mine. And then we'll create a circuit with both of our hands on our hearts and hands on top of each other. What's ours is ours. And then you come back to your own and you acknowledge what's theirs is theirs. So you have 4 perspectives that are always simultaneously being experienced. And you can sit in those circuits acknowledging the other person, having the other person acknowledge you, acknowledging each other, and then acknowledging everyone else simultaneously. They're always existing.
Elegant. And it's an acknowledgement of the levels of independence and interdependence all at once with precision in awareness. And I mean, so there's still a lot I want to ask about the individual level of health.
Of course.
But there's a nice gesture and teaser trailer towards interdependence later. It sounds like, well, I mean, I've seen enough to suggest that old school conspiracy theory, going all the way back to, who was it? The ones that killed off naturopathy in the early
Our Rockefellers?
Yeah, the Rockefellers, all the way through to recently with conversations around vaccines, and that it has not, at least in the past 150 years, been in the interests of those with power in corporations, notable exceptions to be distinguished, like to support the actual thriving health and full power of individuals. So is our old school conspiracy so-called theories pointing to this concerted effort on the part of a organized force, to the best of your ability to perceive, is there in operation a program to have humans not be healthy and be asleep to their power?
Oh, 100%. I mean, the New York Times just had an article about 4 or 5 months ago saying healthcare saved the U.S. economy. And for those that may not be aware, it is the largest and fastest growing business in America, has been for decades. And you think about it, you see hospitals pop up everywhere, and then it's all the rehab facilities, all the specialists, the insurance that goes along with it. And the simple economic fact, what is the most precious commodity in the entire U.S. nation? What makes the most money over anything else? What is the single commodity that makes the most?
Food?
A sick child.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because you have lifelong treatment, lifelong procedures, lifelong insurance is involved, right? The whole 9. So that creates jobs for everyone. And that's our biggest business in America. So the second most is a sick adult. And that's also by design. I mean, America, for a first world country, we have the worst outcomes and all that fun stuff. We spend the most, we take the most meds, we vaccinate more than anyone else. But so when we step away from that and realize there's another way, there's got to be another way, it became political, and I'm not political. It's all a puppet show, right? But that's what I love about my own personal path is I'm able to remove those golden handcuffs, the hamster wheel of, oh my gosh, I got to put a roof over my head. There's a job. How do I create more cash flow, revenue? How do I everyone wants that leveraged income, that passive income. Some people do rental properties or own vending machines or buy a franchise, the whole nine. Well, I'm in the business of teaching people franchises that don't cost anything and impact people's health at a measurable level. And we're basically unifying the medical field, biohackers, and families all around measurable nutrition that will monetize whoever is interested in it, whether that's for their own business or for this is their business like me. And I'm out there teaching it to people at mass and internationally.
So there's a downstream impact, too, of this kind of direct access to data-driven awareness around health on thriving in relationship, thriving in being at peak optimal performance, in wealth production and entrepreneurship, all of it.
I like to say creating health sovereignty.
Huh, yeah.
So, because it is, you have 1,000 problems in the world till you have a health problem. And then you're outsourcing it.
Yeah, what is it? The healthy man has all sorts of wishes. The sick man only has one.
Correct, yeah. And that's true for everyone. And when you can empower people to take health into their own hands with a simple 10-second test that gives them a 2 to 3 month snapshot of their nutritional status inside their cells, a lie detector or a truth detector. This is the truth of where you're at. You may not have symptoms now, but we want to prevent them from coming. Or if you do have symptoms, we can have an impact on those symptoms. So you have to understand the legality of talking about nutrition in regards to medical. And because of what you mentioned with the Rockefellers, nutrition cannot legally treat, diagnose, or prevent disease. Only a medication or a surgery can.
What a trick.
Yeah, nefarious by design. So now we have to figure out how to talk about it. That's the challenge, right? The opportunity with the difficult path. And that path is simple. I can talk about the efficacy and research for the specific nutritional compounds and extractions and ingredients without naming an actual product. And that allows me to talk about its impact on a symptom or disease, as long as I don't name a product. So there's a little legal loophole that most scientists are aware of, but confusing to the average consumer, because we're handicapped out the gate. You can't say cure, you can't say these things. You'll be shut down, but like at a federal and legal level.
Oh, just look at Kevin Trudeau being put in federal prison for talking about coral calcium being useful for cancer, or supportive of people. Yeah,
and it's also a confusing space because everyone's trying to sell a product, you know. And I mean, The Greatest Salesman on the Earth, you know, that's a great book. Or Augmendino, you know, like it's a deeply religious thing to have favor with anyone. But I like informed consent.
Yes.
Because of that curiosity that I was born with and fostered, and my gratitude for life and for love and for humanity, it pushed me to a place to figure out things that actually have the data driven behind it and can back it up and are completely transparent, i.e. I can go talk to scientists. I can go tour the lab where it's made. I can look at their entire sourcing and manufacturing and understand that they've never had a recall in 40 years in 50 countries, that they created the standards for the entire nation, USA. Everyone says GMP standards. Well, our company created it. And theirs are much, much higher. Those GMP standards don't mean a lot, and that's why it was like the bare minimum that the U.S. government looked at our standards and policies, and they're like, we'll take the minimum thing of this.
To fulfill,
Yeah, because no one can. They don't have the infrastructure to, the resources to. When you look at, I like comparing it to dirt weed. You probably smoked someone's dirt weed in college or something, and you're like, oh, this stuff sucks. It doesn't give me that high, because it didn't have enough of the active compounds you need. We're not in the business of crushing up leaves or fruits and vegetables and putting them in capsules. That doesn't do anything. It's a whole different thing when you're extracting the active molecule and compound and stabilizing it and standardizing it to a dose like a medication.
Huh.
So you have to test the crops, and crops vary year to year. So you need to know that that crop is high producing yield, of that bioactive. So they test that before it even gets in the door. And then they send a soil scientist to go look at it. But they even go further and find out which exact species of said plant or fungus that has the highest yield on the planet. So they can get those extractions. And this has led me down a million other rabbit holes, in regards to health. Like one of the main things people talk about is detox. Detox everything. But there's really only two things to detox. And the first one is your cell, its function. So when you have proper nutrients, these 6 categories, and we can measurably improve them now, right? That makes your cell work better. And the cell is just a little ball of fat. It's this membrane that's around there, like a basketball.
Lipid bilayer, yeah.
Yeah, phospholipid bilayer. You got it. So all your receptors on there and your little ion channels to send signals and communicate between different cells and organs, how your synapses work, and it's communication. But if that membrane is not working, then nothing's working. Every cell in your body has 8 primary functions before whatever it does. Think of them as you got 30 trillion factories. It's an eye factory. It's a testy that's pumping out your testosterone, right? And it's your gut, it's your liver. But those 8 functions are the same for every cell before the product that factory produces.
For the specialization, yeah.
Yeah, and that's mitochondrial energy conversion, that's autophagy, the self-destruct button, that's the glycation. You're either making or storing the sugar and energy. Also, one we're going to talk about here is lipid peroxidation. It's a fancy word, but all it means is how well does that cell membrane work? How much protection does it have from antioxidants, from rusting? And then how well can everything get in and out of the cell? And that's where detox comes in. So if that cell membrane or that lipid peroxidation is low, that cell membrane function is high, which is what we measure on our device, then you know that you can detox more efficiently. Because your body's great at detoxing. Life wants to live, man. Like, a tree will go around a rock or through it. A bird will fly with half a wing or half a beak or half a leg. Like, life wants to live. Your body will limp through anything and try to thrive, but you have to give it the raw ingredients. So we know that we can measurably improve that, because if, like, everyone talks about mitochondria, drives me nuts, because go out to a lab and measure your mitochondria.
It's like measuring midichlorians. We can't do it.
Yeah, it's still correlative. Lab tests are correlative unless you're like picking up specific enzymes, but it's still symptomatic instead of root cause. And that mitochondria has a membrane. Its ingredients have to get in and out of that membrane. Its products have to get in and out of that membrane. So they domino, no matter what impact, lipid peroxidation, glycation, mitochondrial function. If one goes bad, it's like saying, hey, the roads are out to the factory. Or saying, hey, the workers are all sick in the factory. Or saying, hey, the delivery was delayed of our ingredients. Or the coal train tracks got disrupted to power the furnace in the factory that's powering everything. So all those things matter, but now we have a direct, easy way to measure one of them that impacts all of them. And then you have a chelation. That's the other part of detox, right? That's the one thing is like, how well does the cell work? The other part is called chelation, or a binder, something that goes in and attaches chemically or atomically and pulls out a toxin or a non-native, a non-natural thing. And we really don't have a great understanding of why and how those things work. It's like God just giving you an alley-oop and Mother Nature saying, here, have this, and it will pull out some bad things.
So then there's certain nutrients that will support the detoxification.
100%.
And then the layout of those gets displayed per person, per peroxidation profile.
And you have, so here's where we dive into genetics. everyone has a little bit of genetic variation. Everyone's a mutant. No one has no mutations.
Huh. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's impossible. It's also why we're diverse, which is beautiful.
We're all X-Men.
Exactly. But you have a sub-stack of genes that help with detox, and it's called NRF2. So your NRF2 pathways. There are natural compounds that upregulate or turn on, or think of it as a dimmer switch. Epi means on top. Epigenetic, on top of the gene. The dimmer switch on top of the gene. Or think of it like an instrument. It's out of tune. We can tune it genetically. So you can give it the right compounds that are genetic instructions, not just fuel, but literally instructions for your DNA, for those cells to detox more efficiently or upregulate the body's detox potential.
So I think a eminently natural next place to go would be, tell me about the thing and how it works, and let's see how it works.
Yeah. So Raman, is a famous physicist from India.
I would have thought it was a certain type of noodles.
Noodle. No, I imagine he liked noodles. I don't know. But
Ramen.
Yeah, 1930 Nobel Prize for physics.
Huh.
And it also won the Nobel Prize in 1926 for chemistry. So it's not new science. It's new to the public sector.
Uh-huh.
And basically what happened was the Department of Astronomy, studying space, whatever that is, and the Department of Biological Diagnostics said, let's collab. You do cool stuff, I do cool stuff too, man. Let's do something together. And Raman spectroscopy is used to identify the gases of a star or a planet.
Uh-huh.
Because they're essentially just tuning into the frequency of a molecule and measuring the light reflecting off of it to tell us how much of that molecule is in that object. So it's also used in biochemical research to measure down to the atom and molecule, or certain really expensive pieces of lab equipment that we have. You can spit in them and it will tell you everything you've eaten and been in your mouth for the past couple hours, like down to the molecule, down to the atom. Fascinating stuff. So basically they found out that there's these certain compounds from those colors in all fruits and vegetables that are also in our cell membranes. And they said, hey, we can measure these, we believe. So it was originally developed for macular degeneration because those eye doctors are zooming in with high-powered lenses to actually look at the cells in your retina and your iris and things, and look and say, oh, you have oxidative stress, you're rusting, you have damage, you're malnourished, and then measurably improve it. And they quickly found out that you could apply this to the rest of the body and then also the skin and measure a 60 to 90 day systemic level of oxidative stress, inflammation, cell membrane function, of nourishment from all fruits and vegetables. And then it took $1 billion in 23 years with only 5,000 devices in the entire world to measure 28 million people. After that, we have this little thing right here. It got to be the size of it was in a lab, so the size of an MRI machine. Then it got to be the size of a cooler, and then it was the size of a toaster, and now it's the size of a hockey puck. And it's non-invasive. You just put your finger over this light that's blinking really fast, and it's called prism for a reason. It's shifting through different wavelengths of light, and we're actually measuring a lot of different things now. So now we know this one metric tells me if you have high BMI, if you have poor sleep, if you have high alcohol consumption or smoking or toxin exposure, or have a lot of highly processed foods in your diet versus eating a lot of fish, nuts, grains, colorful fruits and vegetables, having adequate sleep, having a lower BMI, having more physical fitness, all those directly impact the score. So it's a lifestyle, nutritional wellness, cell function, and metabolic risk, which metabolic just means cell function from nutrition.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And delightful.
Simple. It's making big science simple, which is like kind of my hashtag. Make big science and big spirituality simple.
Make big science simple again.
Yeah. They're patterns.
Yeah.
And I had to learn a lot of different languages, the medical language, the science language. They're different, by the way, and then spiritual, and then how to explain it so it's easy to understand, which I hope your listeners, pick up some of what I'm putting down. If not, then I got to go back to the drawing board. That's my whole life goal.
People are pretty smart.
Yeah.
They want to have better sex more often, more connection, and thrive better lifting more.
Get this score up there and your libido turns back on. I once had a 26-year-old guy in medicine, and he was like, yeah, man, I have ED. He's like, I try to eat well. My partner thinks it's her. And she was like, maybe it's me. He's like, no, honey, like my plumbing's not working. It just really hurt him. And I put him on one product, a foundational product to correct deficiencies across the board, minerals, vitamins, antioxidants, a ton of each of those. And within a month, he was like, I'm pitching tents every morning. A young man, a 26-year-old man. I could have never imagined. I'll be 44 in another 2 months, and I couldn't imagine, being that young. And man, you had to stop me from playing with myself, even in my 20s. So it just goes to show you, your vitality is also your sex drive. That's an excellent marker for your health. It's life force energy.
Respect. So how do we test this thing out?
Yeah. So this just hooks up through Bluetooth. Basically, there's an on button. Turn it on. I got a little crazy app, and this app's going to have all kinds of crazy stuff in it, like AI personal trainer, integrations with Oura Ring and Whoop Strap, and all kinds of stuff coming in the very near future. So first, because I just turned it on and it's been off for a while, I'm going to calibrate it, and that's only takes 30 seconds. There's this. Can you read the letters inside of that cap? There's a little cap that comes with this thing that helps me calibrate.
5L2R.
5L2R, says the man. Oops, R. So I do that, and the little instructions in my app say, hey, cover the blinking light with the dark side. And then it takes 10 seconds to do a quick scan, and we're about a third of the way done with calibration. This calibration, the previous device would take a minute. The device before that was 3 minutes. The device before that was 3 hours. And then the little instructions in my app say, flip it over and do the flesh-colored size of this little cap. Scan that. And I do want to ask if your hands are clean. That absolutely matters.
I can wash them just to make sure.
We leave oil and residue. If they're relatively clean, it's fine.
They're relatively clean. They were probably washed before you got here.
And then it's going to calibrate me because it's used to me. And you're going to do the same thing here. Have your hand flat on the surface here, and then rest your hand and cover with your fingerprint the little blinking red light that's taking 700,000 measurements in 10 seconds, giving you a 2 to 3 month snapshot of where you're at. So now it is your time to shine. Just put your hand flat.
Does it matter?
It does not matter. We want consistency, so every time we measure, we want to measure the same finger. All biological testing, blood pressure, cholesterol, DEXA, all these things, they all have variability between 5 and 10%. This is no different. Heat can impact it. You're good. So you have a very high score, my friend. You're definitely in the top percentage of humans on this planet out of millions and millions and millions and millions of people.
It says 680.
Which is awesome. It's on a scale of 1,000.
Cool.
So there's always room for improvement, right? But that's thrilling to see. I don't see it very often. Being in the health space, I see it more than when we have this in a clinical setting and they're scanning people. So it's color coded for fun and gamifying. So 1 to 200 is red, 200 to 300 is orange, 300 to 400 is yellow, and that's like halfway. And then green is 400 to, 500, 550? And then blue is 550 to 750, and purple is 750 to 1,000. So red's bad. It's really bad. Bottom of the barrel. Orange, not much better. Yellow, you're doing better. And I like to think about it like 680. It's like a credit score. The higher your credit score, the less inflammation you have. And the lower your score, the more inflammation you have and less protection you have. Also, poor your diet is and all those other factors we mentioned before.
So my diet is pretty good.
Your diet's pretty dang good. Yeah. And whatever you're doing, your stress level is pretty dang good. Your sleep is pretty dang good. You're not morbidly obese. You know, you probably move your body a little bit too. Yeah. So all those things reflect that score.
Fantastic.
Yeah. He's elite, my friends. He's elite. We have the proof. We have the data.
We can also rebuild him.
Yeah.
Because I imagine 1,000 is attainable by people, yes, or at least 750.
Yes, 100%. Women tend to carry more. We don't know why. Like my wife's always kicking my ass. She's always like a good 100 to 150, sometimes 200 points higher than me.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. I think it's their fat deposits because their breast and buttocks, they just carry more fat and have more reserve than us because of child rearing. It's by design, yeah.
So what would you recommend for someone who wanted to improve from here? I mean,
well, computers don't do everything, right? So this is where the detective work of human interaction, and you could set up your own profile, and if there were things that you wanted to work on, it would make some recommendations, or you're going to talk to the provider or health professional that's,
who's leveraging this as a diagnostic tool.
Correct. And based on, there's humans, right? So there's going to be good ones and there's going to be bad ones. But knowing the knowledge base of, hey, what do you want to work on? And then what else is going on with you? Because this is not the end-all, be-all test. It is an adjunct to other tests that exists. So we can really get more of a picture. That's why we will incorporate firmware updates, and this will give us even more information, but also integrating like microbiome testing, genetic testing, the data from your Oura Ring, and so on. So to give you, the future is bright, and it's really about tailored, personalized nutrition, microbiome, and even genetics, which we're one of the only company in the world that has this database that's never been shared. That's a personal thing, but also from a business standpoint, it's a market advantage from all the work they've done. Why would they share it?
Oh, so there's an aggregation of patterns perceived in the large quantity of data that makes your diagnostics sharpened because you can compare each new location or data point to that larger.
MIT's jaw hit the floor when they looked at our data set and said, you have 28 million data points. It's insane. The next largest nutritional study or biomarker study is 500,000. It's quite a large difference.
Yeah.
Like, there's really no comparison. And then now when you combine that with, let's say, LifeGen Technologies that we acquired 15 years ago, they measured 300 million genes and validated them. Those are the guys who studied fasting. Wine-Drunk and Prula out of University of Wisconsin. And they said, well, what's happening at the genetic level when you fast? And then what rare nutrient compounds can target those same genes in the same way?
Interesting. So you don't have to fast. You can just take the nutrients.
And then those have profound side effects like angiogenesis, growing new blood vessels in your brain, MRI functional studies showing improved memory, less hunger, reduced in age spots on the skin, which is lipofuscin, damaged cellular tissue or malnourished, a lot of other crazy things.
So it's so funny and interesting, this whole adventure of like investigating and further distinguishing health from all angles started for me from having what I thought, but apparently to the general public is not that much of a egregious appearance change on my face from supposedly low liver and immune functioning manifesting through inflammation in the eyelid and the meibomian glands. And like, I choose optimal health for myself, and anybody who's listening also does too. Seldom do I get people into my inner circle or orbit or community who are not committed to making the best of what they can be. So let's say somebody got this score or any score.
Yeah.
Where would they go next with you or within your organization for deepened support, or what would that look like?
Yeah, I mean, the organization's different because I have all different types of
you personally
providers, practitioners that would focus on other things as well. For me, I would probably want to do mineral testing through OligoScan, which used a similar technology to measure heavy metals and minerals inside of your tissue, not just your hair. And happy to introduce you to Jeff. The national headquarters is here in Austin, and him and his father run the entire company. He's deeply intelligent and a hunter, and he's a fascinating human altogether. But yeah, it would be, well, what's going on with you, buddy? You know, like what are your other symptoms you're ailing? You know, when you're in the health space for a long time, you see patterns in people like jaundice. Like you could tell someone's yellow, you know, like
that's not normal. Yeah.
Yeah. So you start to see those other things, but then there's always outliers, and you have to talk to people and see what's going on with them. Where are there areas that they want to improve?
Well, I always like being the guinea pig for things on my podcasts in order to support and demonstrate the expertise and masterfulness of the people who show up. I have many abstract questions, but I can just tell you where I'm at, and my people can gaze in awe at the skillful handling of my experience and embodiment, and then aspire to their own. And then we'll tell them where to find you, obviously. But I've been waking up in the middle of the night at liver time since. I'm not sure if you opened the door for this, Your Honor.
Yeah,
this was specifically
always.
What you're suggesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing's off table here. I don't
good.
have any secrets about my relationships, my past, my anything. That's not how I choose to go through life, and I think people need that.
Me neither. I mean, then waking up at liver time between 2 and 5 a.m., at least according to Chinese medicine, for about 10 years now, and throwing everything from grounding sheets and changes in diet and supplements and superfoods at it. And then more recently going on a bulk me up coach kind of diet of pounds of salmon per night, which was new and different for me as a mostly raw vegan for many years. And then in the middle of that, and 3 painfully intense workouts per week at just the edge of capacity. And I was making good gains. I was really enjoying it. Having my eye kind of blow up, and one night having this intense itch and pain, and like, all right, what's going on? I don't know what this is. I've had people muscle test it and say, oh, it's staph infection and EBV.
Which are still symptoms.
Yeah, so they're downstream of whatever my current score is.
Correct.
Probably is the implication.
Yeah.
Because the lymphatic and the immune system only are as powerful as the cells that make them up.
Yeah. So based on the information you're giving me, I always tell people they need to detox no matter what.
Yeah.
And you hear that a lot, and it drives me nuts.
Well, what the actual meaning of that is, because I've been doing 369 by Anthony William for a long time, but he's a medical medium. He's not got data that he's pointing to, just anecdotal evidence and testimonials after the fact.
So speaking with, other mineral and heavy metal experts, there's some things that we all agree on that are chelators and binders that work, that help pull things out. But then to your point, you could up the detox potential genetically, increase your NRF2 potential. So that would help expedite, because your cell membranes are working quite well. So I want to...
so leverage what's already going there and optimize the detox processes.
Correct. So combine a chelation natural component that's giving you all the minerals you need at the same time, which is beautiful, and it's 100% natural.
Is there a supplement that does this? Or that's cool.
Yeah, and then there's a couple extracts that it's called R² night, and you take it at nighttime to help with the detox. Because it's the liver time, we do have a product that reduces inflammatory markers in the liver, reduces the oxidative stress, improves the insulin sensitivity in the liver, because everyone's liver is overworked.
Yes.
It's like your heart,
Anthony
brain,
does
and liver.
have that much right with his cleanse
Yeah.
to heal and talk of the liver cleansing that we all need.
But now we can give it targeted natural extracts that directly impact its function and reduce its inflammation. Basically, hey, when like a flush is great, but how many times have you actually just giving it that super nourishing thing that the liver needs? Well, there are 3 specific types of anthocyanins, like that we mentioned earlier, that actually reduce inflammation in the entire GI tract. Some other cool things, they prevent microplastic absorption, one of the only things known on the planet to do that. But
That's great.
Closes tight gap junction, fixing leaky gut, helps balance out the microbiome, and reduces the load on the pancreas as well. So we know the same compounds are really important for preventing Alzheimer and dementia. And while they're not measured on our device, they improve the score on the device because they allow you, the rest of your body to basically chill the F out and be more proficient because the liver's doing everything. You know, most people, when we talk about mitochondria, don't understand you don't have one mitochondria in every cell. Like we learned in the little diagram in high school. Your heart, every single heart cell has 10,000 mitochondria in it. Every single brain and liver cell have 2,000 mitochondria in it. So those are the most dense mitochondrial cells in the body. AKA they generate the most power and have the most needs and are very sensitive. Because mitochondria are actually plant DNA. They're not human DNA. It's called endosymbiosis. It's, right? So
millions of years ago or whatever.
Yeah. So we have to acknowledge that and help your liver out. And then I would say to help with sleep, there would be 2 mechanisms that I would do. One is a saffron extract. So it's a bioactive compound that's only found in saffron, and it's a nighttime tea. So you can't just go out and buy saffron. It's the most adulterated herb and spice on the planet. Most of it's fake. But this is mixed with some magnesium that changes form with hot water. So it's a fun little fizz. You just heat up the kettle and drink it before nighttime. And what it does is works on your serotonin receptors. So it helps improve mood, but its real compound there is increasing melatonin production naturally, which we just produce less as we age. And melatonin's used all day, every day by the body. You only have a little 3% to 5% increase in production for your circadian rhythm. And it's extended, but that's only at nighttime. Your mitochondria are actually using it as fuel all day, every day, throughout the day. So I would not be afraid to high dose a high quality melatonin. You can't just go buy any melatonin, but 50, 100, 200 milligrams. People don't bat an eye at taking vitamin D. And melatonin's the inverse. Your cortisol and your melatonin, that's your circadian rhythm. Both regulate that, and there is no lethal dose of it, period. You cannot OD on it, and in fact, it's used in cancer research, people taking over 1 gram to reduce metastasis. So your melatonin recycles a lot of other nutrients in your body, like vitamin E and vitamin C, which are international deficiencies. So I would also dive into that a bit too.
So I'm a big believer in supplements and the utility and potency of these. I mean, even things that I have no confidence or clarity have had any laboratory or hardcore tests. I can observe my cognitive, mental, verbal, memory performance mood performance dramatically shifting. And then I've been tinkering with and optimizing stacks of these for many years. And it started to arise in me this awareness and commitment to and I noticed the Hebrew letters on is that your thing that you're holding?
Oh, my bracelet?
Yeah, your bracelet.
Oh no, that's my my little baby's feet.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that I made a whole meaning of that it was completely inaccurate.
No, I love Hebrew pictographs.
That's fun.
It's etymology, yeah.
So my theory, my speculation, is that returning the soul in the body to our proper positioning in relation to God and living out and expressing our purpose fully leaves us no longer liable to the need for manifesting health crises issues in order to drag the feet of our egos so that we don't have to show up, and that victims manifest health crises for significance and attention sometimes from their parents, friends, family, community, and that in our ideal expression, supplementation would help us reach for a new plateau,
right,
rather than being a forever necessity. Do you hold a similar attitude towards, like,
yes and
are
no?
some supplements just necessary forever for people that they are
Because
deficient?
of this modern world that we live in, because of how poisoned it is by those in power.
And so their intrinsic systems for production of certain neurotransmitters or hormones or whatever may be wounded, damaged, diminished.
There are, exactly, intrinsic and extrinsic. So the body makes a lot of antioxidants like melatonin, like glutathione, like methylene blue and catalase and all these fun things. But there are extrinsic antioxidants that are the raw material and the building blocks to make those intrinsic antioxidants. So while you see a bunch of people run out to get glutathione and methylene blue and all these things, it's like peptides, man. It's like your body's not deficient in the peptide. Is there a time and a place for them? Yes, but not for everyone, and they're definitely not long term. The natural compounds that are the raw ingredients for your body to make those things, that's what's not in our food anymore. That's what's not in our soil anymore.
Hence mineralization and nutrient optimization.
Correct. So it's the modern world, my man. I mean, people don't bat an eye about taking, zinc or magnesium, but then they'll look at you and say, well, citric acid is unnatural. It's like, bro, so is that magnesium and zinc you're taking. They're not squeezing out of fruit.
In those doses and in those
there's
portions.
Because everything, like we talked about earlier, comes from that mountain, comes from this earth. When you look at citric acid underneath an electron microscope, mind you, there are about half a dozen ways to make citric acid, and not all of them are equal, which no one would know reading a label. You're clueless. You really have to know the manufacturing
so then
process.
There's a chemical form that's more
There are different forms, but there's no regulation to say which one is which on the label, which is a huge disadvantage for the consumer.
Because they fit into the cells and or have biochemical impacts that are dramatically different, I imagine.
I mean,
like methylcobalamin versus the other B12s.
I love talking about this one because people need education in this space. So the answer is no.
Oh, interesting.
Methylcobalamin is not bioidentical, and it is marketed as such all day, every day. Our foundational products have no methylcobalamin in them and haven't for decades, and we get therapeutic levels of B12 in people because we have all the cofactors that are essential for it. And most people OD and just take too much of things because that's more power.
And then they pee bright yellow.
And the interesting thing is your body has to cleave off. We're talking about methyl versus cyanocobalamin. So your body has to...
one of those anthracites.
You have to cleave off the methyl, and the body attaches its own intrinsic methyl. So it's not bioidentical. Same thing with all the peptides. These are bioidentical. No, they're not.
Which makes it less bioavailable.
And shelf stability, which no one ever talks about. They're the reason that our company has never put methylcobalamin in anything, because we cannot meet our own label claim, which is the whole premise of our business. And during COVID, we couldn't get something into 0.5% of one ingredient of 50, and we just canceled the product because no other company would do that. They don't have the financial bandwidth to just stop production, number one. But number two, they care about profits more. So now we're adding in methylcobalamin, not because of its effectiveness, because of market demand. But we cannot remove the cyanocobalamin, which still has to be there to meet the label claims and efficacy and absorption on lab tests in human tissue, not in a lab, which is very different. When people talk about ORAC values for antioxidants, and this is the highest ORAC value in the world, it doesn't mean squat, because it's not measured in living tissue. It's measured in a test tube, which is very different than your body. But the methyl thing was basically a big psyops on MTFHR. There's always going to be a new trend. Always going to be a new trend. But what's not sexy is the foundation. And so MTFHR, I have MTFHR, you have MTFHR, everybody has MTFHR, but it's not that simple. You don't simply have it or not. It's the degree and the severity of how many mutations, where those mutations are at, depend on the impact and severity of your biology. And really, people are just missing lithium orotate. That is the number one easy natural mineral. It's not the standard lithium form that people are used to that they give in psych wards. It's more effective, but you can't patent it, so Big Pharma doesn't push it. And it's incredible, like $30 gets you like a 1/3 of the year supply. And I have some friends and colleagues that have severe MTFHR mutations, and they maybe take 30 milligrams, which is high. It comes in a 10 milligram capsule, but it's completely safe up to 100 milligrams. Japan adds it to their water because it also works on your immune system and your mood.
Well, that's funny. So it's like the inverse of fluoride. It's something that actually we could benefit from in our water potentially.
Yeah. So to your point, MTFHR, methyl everything, now like methylfolate, yeah, that's better, but you still have to have the non-methylated form for stability. And that's where people don't understand that nothing in nature works in isolation. Nothing in the body works in isolation. You cannot just impact the liver or the thyroid. Only magnesium is not going to save you. Will it have an impact? Absolutely. But your body needs dozens of minerals, and there are macro minerals that use more of, like magnesium and potassium and calcium and sodium, and there are micro minerals that are just as important. Antioxidants were like hieroglyphics. Before the Rosetta Stone, we thought hieroglyphics were beautiful art on the inside of the walls of pyramids.
Now we know they are
a language.
Yeah.
Correct. And 100 years ago, we discovered antioxidants. Lester Packer was the grandfather of antioxidants. He coined the term free radical and antioxidant, which for those that may not understand, oxidative stress is a whole bunch of free radicals. And a free radical is a very lonely, unpaired electron. It's just looking for an electron, and it'll take it from anywhere that'll donate it. Or not, it'll just take it. And that's what causes inflammation and excess. That's what oxidative stress is. It's oxidizing, it's interacting with oxygen. And that's what antioxidants are. Even though there's thousands and thousands of different types, mankind doesn't have the bandwidth to categorize it any farther than that. But genetic instruction is to tune the instrument of the body and improve cell function.
This is fascinating, and there's so many other directions we could go into fasting and stem cells and beliefs and optimizing sex and libido and well-being. You're officially invited back if you want to come back.
Of course, I'd love it.
Conversation.
It's rare that I get to have conversations with individuals that have such a wide palette for science, spirituality, patterns, are their own health advocate, and have your level of discipline, vocabulary, and wherewithal. So it's an absolute delight. And I would be happy to have more conversations because it's just so rare. But, more of this is coming into my life, more of these conversations, more people are aligned. And I'm a true believer that only 5% of us really need to wake up and create the new shift in this earth where we're really focused on helping one another and creating community and providing access to things. The old way of what's in it for me alone is dead. Like, if you're not there that's actually putting good into this world, whether that's creating beautiful art or music or helping people become educated or drop into parasympathetic, and that's
be a co-regulative standing wave of transformation. Yeah,
exactly. That's what it's all about now.
That's amazing, man. Thanks for being who you are, doing what you do. Me is always already we anyway. We come from we, and we either contribute magnificently and intentionally to we, or we try to run away from it and turn the universe into a wishbone.
It's just upside down. Just turn the M upside down, you get a W.
You clearly read and think and talk a lot too. It's great. How do people get more of you if they are just super hungry for this experience that was so uplifting for me of the device or your community?
Instagram is probably the easiest place for people to see some posts about memes, because you gotta laugh, education, family stuff. It's all there, and that's _holistic _hub. That's where you can find me on Instagram. If you're an old school Facebooker, it's just the word holistic, then a space, and the word hub, HUB. It is a hub. It's a hub of information. That's been the goal. There's much larger things at play here than just this or detox. It's about creating that sovereignty we talked about. And that's really my life's work, and a lot of fun things coming down the pipeline. But you'll see my child, my baby, my wife. You'll see other health experts here and there, and a lot of fun and laughter. And laughter is the best medicine, just like love. They're both antioxidants.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love this conversation, and I'm grateful for you. And for those who are curious, I got a 680 out of 1,000, which is such a great reinforcement of.
Wildly impressive.
Thank you.
And wildly impressive. You don't see it, and the proof's in the pudding, as they say.
Well, I've been obsessed with optimizing health, and best friends with a holistic health practitioner who studied under some of the top people in the world for the better part of a decade. And I can't imagine not being that for the remainder of my life, given the benefits of it and how magnetic I am when I supplement and get good sleep. I mean, I'm magical and just a magnificent manifester when I sleep exceptionally well. So with nothing else, it's just like...
Yeah, I mean, you're pushing the body back into its natural state of health, harmony, alignment. And when we do that, it's not just our cells, but it's our antenna to the ether, so we can get the signal clear from the universe and creator and go out and create whatever we want.
Mm-hmm. Which is a great place to conclude. If you all want to make love easy, then that's the particular slice of life that we're focused on here in this community. And if you want to make life easy, check Ryan out and his work. And thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you.
It's great being here.
All right.